Welcome back to another episode of What About That? TV recap and review. That always sounds like a bit of a mouthful. Been thinking of calling it a multi-fandom explosion in your ears, but that too is a mouthful. I'm Jen, aka Power Pants Suit wearing, bourbon drinking, high bic queen, and newly minted Clexa Con journalist. And this week on the cast, I'm joined by
Sara, aka audiobook reader, Namaslang yoga queen, who loves a long, drawn-out ship that ends with two unlikely yet soulfully committed characters making it real. #Avalanche.
#Supercore. Today we are discussing Supergirl episode 411, Blood Memory. This cast is brought to you by a giant bottle of Lambrusco, which we've decided to share. Thank you, Lambrusco, for sponsoring us.
Because we're still celebrating.
We're celebrating. But first, the business of the day. If you tuned in this week and noticed an artistic facelift, you weren't hallucinating. What about that? Rolled out a soft relaunch of all our artwork. From iTunes to Twitter to YouTube to Podbean, we have a new face and a new logo, which we are hoping will bring us into the new year.
The collaboration and conception of this new look was just, something that Jen kind of said, oh, I'm looking for something like this and this and this, and then I did some research, and we definitely just discussed, what the foundation of the new look would be, and I made lots of fun, changes, and we tested around a bunch of colors, but eventually we decided to just stick with the original color scheme, remain true to that.
We are the same people. We've just put out new artwork, and we're really excited to share it with you.
Yeah, Jen's ready to slap it on her next plaid button-up.
That's right.
And rep her What About Dat podcast.
Right. We are working on creating some interesting and fun swag. We are between making t-shirts or stickers or something. Buttons. So if you're going to Clexa Con, meet us so you can get a free sticker, free button.
Look for yellow.
Yeah. In other news,
we'd like to announce our Podfic Theater that will be continuing. If you have a story you'd like us to publish, we're currently looking for shorts that are 5,000 words. Preferably, since it is audio that we are working with, we'd like it to have heavy dialogue and less descriptions. Your work doesn't need to be perfect, nor does it need to be finished. We will produce it to the best of our ability and try to honor the intent in which it was created. We think it's important to tell stories that are not always represented in the media, which is why we like doing this segment on the show.
I saw a wonderful template on Twitter. Supercore Fanfiction, they put out a template for a story they had in mind. And so in this version, it would be like Lena Luthor loses her memory and forgets everything about herself and her relationship to Kara. So I thought that would be a great kind of scenario. I would love to produce something like that. So, if you've not written something and you're new to writing and you want to just throw your story out there in the world, we're a good place to start with.
Where do they submit, Jen?
They submit at whataboutthat17@gmail.com. So just email us there and we will get your story and we will get on it. So I'm very much so looking forward to that. And that's the business of the day. So how's your week going, Sarah? Have you been able to see any interesting television this week?
I did watch this interesting documentary on Netflix called Fire Island. Or is that really what it was called?
It was called Fire Island, the greatest party that never happened.
Party that never happened. It was this ridiculous marketing scheme that just imploded on itself and left a bunch of victims, out of a lot of money, and it really just shows how much social media has an impact, that if enough celebrities get, hype you up about something,
tweet about you
then
or Instagram
people will just totally hop on the bandwagon.
The creator, Billy McFarlane, is completely delusional.
Sociopathic.
And he has this vision of throwing this giant concert in the Bahamas. He emotionally manipulates a lot of people. So.
Yeah, it was like he could never, ever see the reality. It was always just like one fire after another, and he talks about it that way, too.
It's a perfect conglomerate of a social path using social media to scam
and a lot of people's money.
Group of people who are susceptible to scam. Social media is such a wild frontier, and there's very little restriction / oversight happening right now. It begs to argue the question of oversight with these marketing companies. A lot of these millennial social media companies do is they don't take on the responsibility for the end result of the product that they're selling.
So there's 2 documentaries out right now.
Yeah.
One on Hulu, one on Netflix. We did you a service by watching both. Definitely start with the one on Netflix first.
Yeah.
I think that they did a better job.
The one on Netflix is called Fire Island, The Greatest Party That Ever Happened. The one on Hulu is called Fire Fraud. Yeah.
Right. Oddly enough, they have some of the same footage, so...
Well, they have some of the same footage, but what's interesting is that the Netflix one was created by the marketing company that originally built the hype and created the promo that scammed all these people. And the Hulu documentary features Billy McFarland, but it features him because they paid him $250,000 to make an appearance in the film. So both companies ethically shady to get their work done. But it's a fascinating subject, and it's a good watch.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Thank you so much, Sarah. So, I'm late to the party, everybody. I finally sat down and watched Legends of Tomorrow. And holy hell, it is amazing. It blew my mind. I apologize to everyone who ever said I should watch it, Adair included. And I didn't. And that was my bad, because I realized that I was wrong and they were right. It's an incredible show, worthy of all accolades, and full of imagination, innovation, and just fun, plain fun. It's a wacky, crazy visual experience with well-developed characters, and I am so excited about it. And even though I have a ton of reviewing to do, I have so much charm to talk about, I have a ton of things I want to talk about, I'm going to find space on this pod. I can sit down and have that conversation about Legends of Tomorrow because it was so delightful. I have to slow my roll and figure out a way to include it into the pod. So that was my watch of the week, and to anyone who hasn't watched it, you should watch it because it is everything I want Supergirl to be.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Now it's time for Twitterisms. Twitterisms.
In an effort to reach across the fandom, we are bringing you Twitterism. You know what I like, Jen?
What do you like, Sarah?
A good tan.
Oh, yeah.
In order to get one, I have to gradually sun, lathering myself in just the right amount of sunscreen and oil in order to get just the right slow burn. This week's Twitterism is all about Slow Burn's love story between a boy from space and a girl from Parthas. We are focusing on #BrainyAll.
BrainyAll, make it real.
Arguably the best burn we've had on the show since the dearly departed Sandvers. So here are some of the best BrainyAll tweets we've seen all week. Zachary Yarrow at ZM Yarrow. I know it was just a one-off line, but Brainy and Neonal do an escape room. It is now an episode I want to watch. #Supergirl.
Daisy, I don't mind, at Supergirl Carmel, says, finally watched the episode, and that was hands down the best one so far this season. The scenes with the trio were fun, and Neonal and Brainy as a ship, they're growing on me. Things are about to become much more intense, and I'm ready for it.
B-Day Boy Draco at Nicole A. Maines. If they make Dreamer Brain happen, that means they date until the series ends, because Neonal and Brainy are staying until the series ends, period.
And that was Twitterisms! Twitterisms! Today we are discussing Supergirl episode 411, Blood Memory.
Due to her memories of Kara Danvers being Supergirl, we are given a colder version of Alex Danvers, a version who was raised without the same experiences as belonging to a mixed human alien family, and now she's just a jerk. It's tough to watch, and one has to wonder how long Jean will sit on the sidelines while his Earth daughter goes around acting like another government suit who shoots first and never asks questions later. Because, to quote Melania Trump, she really doesn't care, do you? So, let's talk about it.
Episode 411 was all about sister parallels. Kara and Nia Nall must decide whether to tell their family members about their superpowers. We're given the age-old trope. I'm lying to you because I love you and I want to protect you. This was something that was concocted before the dinosaurs when Charmed 1 was still on. CW has been working this trope over and over in every single one of its shows for years. And here we are again. Back in the day, Monhel, Carmel, did this to Kara all the freaking time. And she was the recipient of a lot of pain because he was lying to protect her. And it was toxic then, and I feel like we're in a place where we've revisited this concept of I'm withholding to save you so many times, and it has done nothing to elevate the quality of the show. And now they're doing it with Kara Danvers and Alex Danvers, because they're like, we got nothing, let's use this trope. Let's put it on our mothership. Let's put it on the Danvers sisters. And the Danvers sisters now have been torn in half mentally because Alex does not remember that she is the guardian of Kara's secrets. And Alex does not have the same empathy she grew up with. She's such a hard ass that she cannot tell that Supergirl is her sister with her hair down and without glasses. This leads me to question Alex growing up with Kara as children must have at one point seen Kara with her hair down without glasses. So she can't put the fact that her sister is Supergirl together because a truth seeker sucked away her memories.
Come on.
She still has enough of mental memories that are untapped to perhaps put two and two together.
Jen, I'd hate to have you on that writing team because you would really tell them, like, what's up.
I would be fired probably in a day.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, hold on, you guys. We're not continuing or working within the confines of the structure that we've told and sold to this audience for 4 seasons. Gosh. There's something about writing mythical worlds, fantasy, and sci-fi. In the mythical world, ones such as, let's just use an example, J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. All the magical beings reside in a place called Middle Earth. Frodo, he inherits this ring, and the magic ring is deadly as fuck. The rules of this world is that in order to save everything, he has to get the ring and he has to dunk it in a volcano full of lava where the evil resides. Sorry for the spoilers, that is how it ends. This movie's been out for a while. And that's the rule of the world, and that's the one thing that is never broken. Now you take a mythos like Superman. Since its inception, people were not able to discern the difference between Superman and Clark Kent. And this translates to Kara and Supergirl. So in the Superman world, no one can tell the difference between Superman having his glasses on and Superman having his glasses off. And it's with this concept being the pillar of Superman, the Supergirl writers have really, really turned it into a grace area. Because in 2 instances, they've chosen to break the rules of the world. And when you break your rules of the world, you're left having to explain yourself to your audience. Because I guarantee you, every con, they've been asked the question, why was Cat Grant able to decipher or take apart James's identity in 2 seconds and know exactly who he was by simply looking through his visor and seeing his eyes? Another time was when Maggie Sawyer, arguably a new cast member, came on the show. She was Alex Danvers' love interest, and she spent a lot of time with Kara and was able, just by looking at Kara, able to tell Kara was Supergirl. So they've broken the rules of this mythos when it has been convenient to them, And in other instances, when it's blatant and it's uncomfortable and unexplainable, they've chosen to keep the wall of identity high in regards to Kara, which is why it makes no sense that Lena cannot tell that Kara is Supergirl. You know, it makes no sense because her intelligence level is beyond that of anyone on the show. Much less intelligent people have been able to figure this out, and yet she remains ignorant. And it creates this unevenness in the character that the audience is picking up on at all times. And you would think they would rectify this by episode 1 of season 4. And here we are at the mid-season, and what are we doing? We're removing Alex's memory for the second time this season. We've gone there before. In the Elseworlds crossover, Alex didn't know who Kara was because she had existed in a universe without her sister. Okay? And here we are again with Alex not knowing who her sister is. Again, nearly the same storyline happening again. And it's these things that create a cloud over the show, and it's why some people have chosen not to continue watching the show, because it has become nonsensical in a way that is not congruent to the flow of the show, nor does it add or elevate the show anyway. And now it's time for the Wardrobe of the Week.
Wardrobe of the Week.
4 Weddings and a Funeral is Parthas, the town where Nia Nal grew up. And it's also a fashion statement, where people wear wedding gowns to funerals. Parthas wins the Wardrobe of the Week for being the place where last season's spring line of David Bridal wedding gowns are literally laid to rest. Our next fashion faux pas comes to us from the hair and makeup department. Union Extras of the Week, Dumb and Dumber, also known as the 2 drug dealers selling rage pills, were beaten up by the Children of Liberty. They had the worst makeup, overly dramatic splotches of blush, pulled us out of the drama. But fortunately for us, Alex Danvers and her flawless performance, plus hair and makeup, was really the scene on this show that pulled it all together. And that's
Wardrobe of the Week.
That leads us right into where I want to go next, Alex Danvers. This actress, Kyra Lee, is capable of getting lemons and turning it into lemonades on a consistent basis. If she had a lemonade stand, she'd be a very rich woman. Because I look at her scenes and I think, wow, her inflection, her tone, her tenor, the maturity she brings to the moment, it is the emotional heart of Supergirl. You think that would come from a main character, but in fact, it is this actress who is capable in so many different kinds of scenes, whether it be between her sister or rage pill taking frat boys. She's able to bring the high drama and not make it feel cliche or melodramatic in any way. I felt she did that in this episode really, really well. I felt invested. She got a storyline I didn't really care so much about, and she turned it into something more interesting to watch. And that leads me to the thought that this week's Villain of the Week, we had these gamma rays that shot into an RV, electrified some pills, and these pills people were taking, and they were causing people to literally rage and double their body mass. And it was kind of hilarious. And this got me thinking about Legends of Tomorrow. I feel like if Supergirl wanted to be a better show, it would start taking itself less serious. Like, I love Alex Danvers' emotional depth, and all of that can remain, but pull back on the Children of Liberty maybe, and have those fun episodes where we allow the wacky to exist. Or Legends does is it enables both the depth of the character and the weird of the world really well.
Yeah, it's a good balance between the two, which I feel like sometimes Supergirl lacks.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're trying to ask these characters to say things that don't like make
Happen in
sense
real life,
in
yeah.
the real world, and like they have to say them with like all the sincerity and the truest nature,
Right.
when in reality you're just like, what?
This is weird.
And you can tell sometimes that the actors are struggling with
what they're given.
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel like Legends is so self-aware that it has weird shit happening on a week-to-week basis. It's embraced it. And I see Supergirl going there, like with Rage Frat Boys as a weekly villain. That's funny. I wish it would have been a little more funny or a little bit more outrageous. And keep the dialogue, keep it dry, but keep the stakes bigger and bigger. We're in a mythical world, and I feel like just kind of like we're taking ourselves so seriously with the political themes, nature of the show, and I like that. I think there's space for that political message they want. I think there's space for the emotional message, for the relationships. I think you can have the whole package. And I think part of that package is letting loose and having a little bit more fun. I feel like you get snips of that with Brainiac and Nia Nal.
Yeah.
But just on a whole larger scale.
Yeah, it's
let
too
the wacky,
serious.
Let Supergirl be wacky again.
Yeah.
A couple episodes back, we had a fire-breathing dragon. There was a lot of potential there. Fire-breathing dragon versus
Bring
the
that
girl
back.
of steel. You know, that was a lot of fun, and I would love to see more fun had with that. So maybe trimming fat here and there to really focus on these things that could brighten the world, brighten Supergirl, and remind us that we are watching a superhero show where people have magical powers and wacky things happen in this world, and it's not always so packaged together. So that would be my suggestion if you want to turn it around, Supergirl. All right, on to some of the bright spots of the episode. Nia Nal, her whole family experience we were given. One of the things that I really enjoyed was I enjoyed Parthas. I enjoyed the world of Parthas. I enjoyed the world building and the amount of time they spent referencing the culture of Parthas. It kind of gave us this Santa Cruz feeling, Santa Cruz, California feeling.
Or I was thinking like Katona, New York.
Katona, New York, you know, where you had
Just
a little
that,
bit
like crunchy granola, all natural, all
Yeah.
organic.
I could totally see all of them having a line of Tom's deodorant in their bathroom cabinets and sipping California wines and basically walking around with like really cool hemp sandals, and that's what they do. And they have an herb garden, pick fresh herbs from. On the weekends they go to like the farmers market, the open market.
Right.
They buy bread and honey there. This is Parthas. I totally got all those flavors. I thought the world building was much stronger than last season when they were building Argo, and Argo just looked kind of silly, and I felt like it looked a little bit like Xena Warrior Princess. It looked like a set from a Xena Warrior Princess. We're given Nia Nal, her sister Maeve, her mother and her father, and Nia Nal's older sister is like Marcia from the Brady Bunch, and Nia Nal is clearly the Jan. She worries so much. Marcia expects to inherit her mother's dream powers.
/ Maeve.
And she expects Maeve been waiting for her powers to trigger so she can become a dreamer like her mother. And Nia Nal's been having all these like scandalizing nightmares about dark ink and crows and spiders, and the powers have amassed in Nia Nal, and we're given a sister relationship that is on the fringe because Nia Nal fears losing the love of her sister if her sister finds out that she didn't inherit the power. And also we're given a Nia Nal who is clearly removed herself from this very open and accepting town to go out into the world and find herself. Creates a sense that there was something there in the town that never really maybe made her feel like she belonged. And that is an interesting thing about Nia Nal. It's getting to a place where Kara is revealing her identity to people again because she can't stand the loneliness of not having people know that she's Kara Danvers, that who she really is, because Supergirl is yet another skin that she wears. She reveals herself to Nia Nal because she sees herself in Nia Nal, and at the same time I feel like she makes herself somewhat of a hypocrite. And I wish they would infuse Supergirl with this conflict. Being like, I wish they would infuse her with this conflict in all of her relationships. Not just with Nia Na. I wish we'd see it. I'm a hypocrite because I can't tell Lena about who I am. I wish we'd see a more tormented, emotionally...
Yeah, and I felt like it was really caught off guard that she just told Nia Na. And it was like a quick, you know...
it was a quick scene.
Quick blitz scene.
It was
and
a
you're
quick
like,
scene.
oh, okay.
She has this there's this uneven frame of mind when it comes to revealing herself. Like, it was totally fine for everybody except for Lena not to know her identity. Although Lena has been working in conjunction with the DEO since season 3. Lena's been at the DEO since season 3. So why wouldn't even background extras at the DEO knew Kara was Supergirl.
Right.
It was chill there. Everyone knew. So why wouldn't you bring Lena into the fold? And that's what really drives me crazy. And now I'm going to be driven more crazy by the thought of Alex not being in the fold anymore. It's just like,
Why?
It's a frustration.
Yeah.
Anyways, so overall, this episode, what would you give it?
I would give
Scale
it
1 to 10.
like a 6 or 7. I really loved all of the Parthas scenes.
Yeah.
Those were my favorite. I think they did a really great job in the
I
creativity.
kind of wanted Nia Nal's mom to be like more hippie, like be like really hippie, like like her parents to be like doing partner yoga in the front room.
Yeah,
when she walked in and be like, oh, Stan, and just a little bit more stretch here, like a little more weird. I would like that, more eccentricities.
I thought they did a good job with the mom. I thought the dad was like totally dorky and unnecessary to even be there. It was like his presence and character were super bizarre. So
yeah,
he
didn't feel like a full character.
Yeah, it was just like he didn't have any lines. He
was a point of reference.
Like looked dorky.
The mom had a dream that she was gonna meet her husband, and so that's why they're in Parthas. So you needed to have a point of reference. Oh, here's the husband she met, right? But other than that, he did not.
I get
feel
that,
real.
but he didn't really vibe with Parthas like the way it looked and everything. He looked a little out of place. I feel like
he was a secret Republican. I get it. Maybe like he was formerly Republican, now an independent. I got it. No, you're right.
Yeah.
I did get that off him.
So what did you give it?
I'm going to give it a 5. Tonight there's a new episode. I'm so sorry, you guys, that it took me so long to get this up. I've now recorded this episode 3 times. I had corrupted audio files on one time. And then the other time,
You lost the file.
I lost the file. Oh, the file didn't save. Yeah. So this is my 3rd time. I did a sound check. I did everything I could to be successful, and we'll see.
3rd time's a charm.
3rd time's a charm. Sometimes you have
we
to
know
forgive yourself.
so much about this episode.
We've talked
so much about it.
Sometimes you give yourself a date. I'll tell you what. And you don't meet that date, and it makes you really angry that you didn't meet that date, and then there comes a point where you're like, you know what, I'm just going to release a podcast, and I'm going to forgive myself for not getting this out, and I'm going to move on. And I have the next episode of Supergirl queued up on my Hulu TV. We're going to watch that. I've recorded it tonight. Try and have this one up and get back in line with some of my production goals. But you know what? Thank you so much for listening. You know, we had a lot of fun bringing this to you. We brought it to you 3 times. You missed the
first 2.
The first 2. We finished the Lambrusco in the first time, and the rest of this cast was dry.
We went to tea.
we
had
2 cups of tea.
We were like, we need some Earl Grey.
Yeah. You know, so we've presented the subject matter in many ways. But anyways, thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to
like and subscribe,
you can hit us up on YouTube. We're also available on Twitter at whatabout_dat. Be sure to follow us. Be sure to tweet us any questions you have or concerns or crisis. Or if you have a subject in this night's episode, hit us up there and we'll bring it up in the cast. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your patience. And we